you know, after you left the oily lake, you try to pick up the trail of glyphs again. Actually, the trail of glyphs, the glyphs seem to be, after like a couple of days when you're traveling north, the glyphs seem to be more and more destroyed. Somebody or something has tried to eradicate them. And we are inside of the bone auto wagon. All the surfaces are polished. I think that Vigo is again driving the pale-faced ghost hunter, and next to him is Nida. And Puckett, how does Nida look like?
Dark weathered skin. She's wearing a cloak. It's a little back over her head. She has long black hair. And I actually like riding with Vigo because we listen to the bone. We listen to that esoteric radio all the time. And there's always something weird on it and interesting.
Well, speaking about it, why don't you roll 2d6 to see what kind of broadcasts the para radio picked up?
That is a 9.
So 2d6 in the sense that a 6 and then another 6.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go 3 and then 6, since that's the order they showed up in.
Yeah, so it's music, and it's actually classic jazz, so jazz from the 1950s. And just for shits and giggles, roll another d6 to see if...
We're listening to Charlie Parker?
Could be Charlie Parker. It's probably more classic in the sense that it's less bebop or something.
All right, rerolling the first die, and that is a 1.
That's a 1. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely some. Maybe it's like early Charlie Parker. And next to Nida, there is Ned, who officially is the leader of the Cockflower Caravan. So, Dennis, can you describe Nat?
Nat appears androgynous. Nat sometimes goes as Nathaniel and sometimes as Natalie. They are wearing a immaculate suit of white linen, and they carry a whip on their belt all the time. And they have been spending a lot of their time reading the holy annotations within the sacred spreadsheets.
What is the symbol of the Cockflower Church is a cockflower, I think.
Yes, it is a cogwheel with a flower design on it. I had one posted at one time, but...
And does Ned have like a symbol of their religion somewhere on the... Is it part of the suit, or is it like a...
No, it's hanging an amulet around their neck, and they have a pet Vome that's shoulder a lot.
That is true, and the Vome is furry and giggles when
you tickle it.
when tickle it. And
yes.
Together with
is Casey still around?
Casey is definitely around.
Your armadilloid bride?
Yes. And my chicken.
Your chicken is still with us. We haven't killed it.
Okay. I think Vigo complained about the chicken distracting him from driving, so the chicken is not in the driving cabin. But Casey definitely is.
Okay.
And then behind Ned, there's Sarko. Nathan, can you describe Sarko?
Yeah, Sarko is a dog head, so he's got that like jackal head. He's wearing like mechanics coveralls that are pretty dirty, all things considered, like big heavy boots. His like background is like he spent some time in like Redland district, rubbing shoulders with plenty of the like worker anarchist revolutionaries there. So he's carried a lot of those ideas with him. His mission in the Grasslands is to try to find out as much as possible about like abmortals, immortals, and so forth. With the ultimate goal of, and he's split on this, whether either to like interrupt that process for those who have it, or share the secrets with everyone, so that to level the playing field, such that either everybody is mortal or everybody isn't.
And I think we will find out when Sako has all the information.
Right. Yeah.
And Sako also has bone and wicker salamander. No, that's not bone and wicker. It's what is it?
Wire and bone.
Yeah, wire and bone.
Yeah.
And I imagine that your salamander is playing with cataract, which is also a bone and wire salamander, but of Azure, who also sits in the back of the cabin of the bone auto wagon. Abe, can you describe Azure?
Yes, Azure is formerly a lithe woman who had impeccable mid-century modern style. She used to wear a sort of a black jumpsuit with a blue vinyl skirt and a scarf. But unfortunately, she had been biocorrupted, and she's got rapid body growth as far as like muscles go. So she's kind of become super ripped, and she no longer fits into her fine mid-century modern gear. So she's kind of had to cobble together a suit of armor that is more reflective of the current state of the world, and it's kind of very Road Warrior pieced together, and she's kind of bereft about that her sense of style has kind of been disabled for now, and she's always on the lookout for some nice mid-century modern gear. She still has this giant clear plastic tear glass shaped face mask that she can wear as kind of like a holdover from her former style, but that's about it.
And I think her head or face hasn't really changed, or has it?
Right.
Like, is it now a bulky body with a relatively small head, or is the?
I think it's in scale, but it's not like she's looks like she's like on mad steroids or anything like that. Still,
yeah, it's not. Yeah, I understand.
So she doesn't have like a pinhead like the bad guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Cool. And so you are slowly leaving the Spectrum Run. The Spectrum Run, you're passing these gigantic, like sometimes 3-story tall vehicles that had been stranded like a long time ago. And in between these vehicles, there's this weird sparkling, relatively tall grass. And in the grass, there's sometimes these salt rings. And in on the horizon to the east, we can see the near moon looming, this gigantic planetoid that hovers over the horizon. And we can also see some of the fires, the prismatic fires of the Spectrum Run that we just left, that burn in all colors of the rainbow out of this weird. It looked like crystalline outcroppings. It could be like destroyed buildings. It's a bit unclear. But we're leaving well, actually, we're not leaving yet, because what we haven't done last time, which I forgot to do, is rolling for misfortunes in the Spectrum Run. So let's go from the character keeper left to right. Nathan, why don't you roll? What's your charisma? 10. So why don't you roll a flat d20?
All right. Ooh. I rolled a 13, so I don't think I add anything to that.
Okay.
I have charisma 11. Yes, I don't.
Holy shit. This is a strain. I have to read this. Okay. So I think what happened is that you were looking outside of the window, And I described these prismatic fires. So once in a while, it was more frequent when you entered the spectrum run. But once in a while, you have these crystalline structures, and there is this flickering mad light. And for everyone else, it seems like interesting, obviously interesting. But you are, for some reason, you are utterly fascinated by one of them. And this light seems to be sentient. It seems to be probably some kind of satrap magic that went mad. But in any case, you lose an hour that feels like half a lifetime. And something breaks in your brain. You go slightly mad. And you learn, like, in that hour that happens, you somehow gain the wisdom of the sentient being. So maybe can you describe, like, how does that how shall we visualize that, the what do we see when Sarko loses focus, and what is going on in his mind?
Sure. I think, since excuse me, since this is playing out over our week of travel, right? Like, maybe there's a like a pit stop we make that's like unremarkable in all ways, except that Sarko wanders off, right?
Cool.
Maybe he even thinks that he's following, he like went around like a low hill to use the bathroom. And I thought he was following, like, the way back to the campfire or whatever, but instead he was actually following this, prismatic light. And before he knew it, he was somewhere completely else for a very long time, it felt like.
Cool. And now it goes on. You learned from this prismatic sentience a ritual, and the ritual is called full spectrum radiation blast.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm as surprised as you. So what you could do is you put it in one of your slots, I would say. Does that sound like
sure?
makes sense?
Yeah.
So it is called full spectrum radiation blast. And it's a ritual, which means it takes some time. And here it says, to cast, you imbue it into one of your own eyeballs over an hour, and then we have to sacrifice some life, which makes total sense in the context of Whitehack. So let's see what makes sense. It says here 7 life, but that is obviously, we can't translate it into HP because
sure,
there's a lot more that you have. So normally magic in Whitehack is the following: the more HP you invest, the bigger the result is, the bigger the effect is. So the distance, more damage, and so forth. So I would say we do it on a like we normally do spells in Whitehack, on a ad hoc basis, where we have to. I tell you how much HP it would cost, and then you say, but the ritual takes longer, and so forth. So it's more like what's it called? Like a little bit like haggling.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
All right. And then we. Do you say something when you return from strolling away from the camp?
You said it feels like I've been gone for a lifetime, right? I think that possibly the way I seem is like, I've woken up from a very convincing dream, where for a while I'm unsure, kind of like I'm talking about like people and places that don't seem to line up with anything in our recent travel, and slowly I sort of start to those memories start to fade, except for the like wisdom gained. But yeah, for a while, I think I'm pretty disoriented and barely remember who these people are.
I mean, for you, it must be super weird because, your character hasn't casted any kind of magic. You do know that, I think, is Ned a... yeah. Let's see. Ned, are you wise?
My wisdom is 7, so no.
More in the set. Yeah, you're also deft. Yeah, you don't know anyone who really can cast spells, so you're a bit on your own in this one.
Mm.
Okay, so that was obviously during the travel through the Spectrum run, and when we enter the second leg of the journey, the landscape changes a little bit. So now the landscape is much drier. There's these mesas. They are like really gigantic boulders and craters in the ground. Also, the wind picks up. It's much more. It's like a hair dryer wind, really hot and dry. And let's see what the misfortune is on the next part of the journey. So let's see. And Dennis, why don't you roll a d20? And unfortunately, your 7 probably means -1.
Okay. Let's change that to a 6 for now.
No, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is your modifier isn't it -1 modifier?
Oh, okay. That's what you meant. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a 7 is a -1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, D20. Survey says 14, so 13.
13. So, yeah, I think nothing. So let's describe what you see first. So you, as a group, you approach like this really wide canyon, super deep. But even before that, I think what you see is there is this blinding light on the horizon, and the closer you get, the more sparkly and blinding it gets. It is almost impossible to look at, so shiny it is. And when you get even closer, you can see that to the east there is this gigantic canyon, and the shiny reflecting thing that you saw is a gigantic. It's described as a cathedral almost of a glass bridge that spans the canyon. But there are other tiny reflecting lights before that. You can see that there is a group of steel and I think steel and bone chariots. They're not the shiny things. And next to them, there are people in armored, like in mirrored armors. And obviously, the mirrored armors also reflect the light. So what do? Before you, to the east, is the canyon with the bridge, and the warriors, I want to say, in the mirrored armors, they seem to guard the bridge.
Perhaps we should slow down and consider the possibilities ahead of us.
Vigo slows down immediately, brakes. And he says, "Does anyone know what this is?"
Does anyone know what this is?
I mean, you can always make an intelligence roll to see what you have heard beforehand.
Is it just one of us, or should?
Yeah, one of us, I think, is okay.
Miss Sarko should probably make an intelligence roll.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Whoever's got the most.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my intelligence is decent. Let's see here. Yep, I rolled a 5 under my 17.
So I think what you know is it about the glass bridge? Is it about the people in the armor, or is it about Three Sticks, the area that you're about to enter? Also, as a reminder from last time, you do know that you have a letter for Madame Red Star, and there was a mentioning of a village, or several villages actually, and one of them was Red Beaver Village.
I think maybe the people are what he maybe has heard something about.
Cool. Yeah, so you have heard that there are nomads from the line nomads who wear these special armors, and they belong to a clan called the Prodigal Fathers. Is it Prodigal or Prodigal?
Prodigal, yeah.
Prodigal Fathers. And you know, they are nomads. They're not the most hostile nomads that they are, but in general, they can be quite hostile to foreigners.
Okay. And the Prodigal
Fathers.
Okay. Yeah. I let folks know that, you know, what as has been related, that they're potentially dangerous.
So what do you do?
If we're going to interact with them, this feels like a nat roll because of charisma.
Which is fine. What do we want to say to them?
Hello? I mean, that's always...
I think the question is, what is your plan? Why do you enter the Three Sticks Lake?
Well, we're here to solve the missing caravan issue. We're sent here to investigate by the Legion of the Far Side.
Yeah. I think that during the week of travel, you had time to talk with Austins. So Ned is the leader of the caravan, obviously knows all the henchmen that you have acquired in the meantime. And Austins is not necessarily mercenary, but somebody who works for the Legion of the Far Side, which Nida is also a member of. And he is here to investigate the disappearances of 3 caravans. And he has told you that there's like 3 different caravans who had no relationship with each other. There's Purple Folk settlers who disappeared about 6 weeks ago. And then there's a group of Rainbow Lander scavengers who disappeared like a week after, which is already a bit strange. And then there was also a group of traders, Greenland traders, and they disappeared a week after that, so like a month ago. And their relatives would like to know what happened. If there's a threat, can the threat be eliminated? If they are dead bodies, can they be retrieved and so forth?
Well, of course, Nat's going to be concerned about matters, but got to take care of your own after all. Okay. So let's approach all these people in armor, I guess.
Vigo
Should we
drives.
say at this point that we've got people near the turrets, and I'm ready? I'm kind of hanging back a little bit to let Nat do this, but I've got my rifle not ready, but not unready.
Mm-hmm. Do you make any attempt to hide this?
I'm not being aggressive, but I'm taking a defensive posture just in case. I mean, that's
And I mean, what you know about the Normans, you had some, not altercations, but some kind of exposure to their culture. Is that they do appreciate a certain level of daring. What is the noun I'm looking for? What is daring?
daring do.
Daring do, maybe.
Boldness.
Boldness. Yes, thank you. So Nida, you're inside the cabin, and Ned, do you step out? What's the layout a little bit?
Well, as we get close to them, I will. What were they called again? Somebody said.
The clan is called the Prodigal Father.
Okay. Then I will step out and step forward. I assume some of them are coming towards us, or are they just ignoring us as we show up?
So one of them on an antlered horse, and they have this mirrored armor, so they're difficult to look at. It's the reflections play on it, with your face a little bit, and they also have looks like a glass spear, let's say, lance. And they are approaching slowly, and the lance is pointing up actually.
All right. Well, Nat will take a few steps ahead of our lead auto wagon and just stand there waiting for them to approach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they approach and say with a rough voice, "How many cars? How many people?"
We have 2 auto wagons and correct number of people.
Okay. Let's actually
Because
check.
I don't know.
Yeah, me
It's
neither.
actually 2 auto wagons and a truck.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
well, whatever.
And it's in terms of people, we're not counting the golems, correct?
No.
We're looking at 8 people.
Okay.
Currently.
So 8 and 3 auto wagons.
Yes.
So it says it's 15 per vehicle and 5 per person.
Okay. We're outnumbered, so I don't plan to argue with them.
So you pay up, and
Of course, Nat totally understands the concept of
making money with just guarding a bridge. Doesn't seem to be any service associated with what the money they get. And yeah, as soon as he gets the money, he turns around and returns to his companions.
Okay. Well, I will try to ask a question of him before he does. I will say, "Excuse me, son of the prodigal father. You collect the tithe from the various caravans that pass through here?"
Yes, we do.
Excellent. We are looking for some lost colleagues of ours in some other caravans.
Mm-hmm.
If they came by here, you must have seen them. Have you seen a caravan of Greenlander traders that has been through here in the past few weeks? Or perhaps a group of purple folk settlers or some Rainbow Land scavengers? We are
There was Oh, go on.
I said, we are investigating on behalf of the Wayfarers.
There were these scavengers, but we sent them away. They couldn't cough up the money.
Do you know in which direction they traveled?
He points to the west, like more or less the direction you come from.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the settlers or the traders?
Never heard of it. Well, actually, there was something funny, and he shouts over to another of them, and he talks in steppe. Does anyone speak steppe? Can understand what he's saying?
2 seconds.
I do. Yeah, it's one of my 3 languages.
Cool. So he says, you know, there were these idiots who turned around. They were Greenlanders, weren't they? Yeah, that was like a month ago. What a bunch of idiots. And then he turns around to you, said, no, I can't remember.
Well, I thank you for your information. If you do happen to see either of them, please let them know they need to get in contact because there are people back in the Rainbow Lands who are concerned about them. May the prophet of the prophet be with you.
He chuckles behind his mirrored mask and, gets back to his companions. So the bridge before you is this incredibly huge construction. And you can, let's see, what time of day would it be? Let's make a roll just for fun to see if it's dark or light and what the creatures are doing. So, we go from morning to evening, and 1 and 2 is morning. So it's actually getting dark. So let's see, what would they do? One second. Yeah, you hear some weird singing, and it's not much of singing. It's the sound that you can make when you wet your finger and you circle a glass. So it's a very eerie sound, and you can see it comes from what looks like maybe worker golems. They're made from, or actually more like, they're here described as vitreous gargoyles. So you have the classic gargoyles on buildings, but these are made from glass. And there's some kind of fire burning inside, and they're crawling over the glass bridge, doing something. So when you...
The gargoyles are crawling over the bridge?
They do. They are made from glass. They have some kind of fire inside of them, and they're crawling like spiders. Not only on the surface of the bridge, but also on the sides and on the constructions that keep the glass suspended between the sides of the canyon. Do you drive over the bridge? You're muted, Dennis.
Yeah, I realized that halfway through the sentence. Are they actually blocking the road surface itself, or are they...
They seem to be completely oblivious of your presence. So if you just drive on, occasionally you would bump into one. It's not that they are constantly blocking the road. As I said, they are crossing the road. They're crawling up the side of the bridge or down. And now that you're a bit closer to them, you can see that from their mouth, and obviously heated by the fire in their glass bodies, there come this liquid glass that repairs any kind of imperfections.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm hesitant to bump into something made of glass that has fire inside of it, because that just seems counterintuitive. So, it appears we have run into the repair crew. Perhaps we should let them do their work. I would hate to determine the effect if we were to cause a crack in one of them and release the flames they are carrying.
Mm.
So do we drive carefully or do we wait?
I'm suggesting wait, unless it looks like they're going to be doing this continuously.
Mm.
Actually, it looks as if while the sun is going down, more and more of them position themselves on the side of the bridge, stop their work, and join the chorus. So their activity seems to be powered by or influenced by the sun.
Mm.
Okay. No, let's just give it a little bit then.
Mm-hmm. So you wait until the sun is down. All the gargoyles have arranged themselves on the side of the glass bridge, when you keep on riding, you ride past this group of singing gargoyles. You can halfway on the bridge, you can see down into the riverbed, and you can see that the water is really. So first of all, the canyon is really gigantic, so it's really deep, cut deep into the land. And way down there, there's the wild water, but you can also see that there are ruins and rusted machines. And then on the other side of the canyon, there is what looks like a pretty tall skyscraper of maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 stories. And it seems to be in, I mean, it's getting dark and everything, but it seems to be not destroyed or anything. Normally, if you come across these old ruins, there's everything's missing. But that seems to be, at least from the outside, seems to be pretty intact. Yeah, I guess, so your roll was, let's see, the crossing, and was it 13? Ears plucked against the howling winds, the crossing is made. So there's no other events on the bridge itself. And then once you reach the other side, I assume that you won't, like, the driving to the skyscraper will take you another day, I think. It's really pretty far away. So you make camp, and then the next day you drive on. And let's see if something is happening on the last part of the journey to Red Beaver Village. So let's see. Puckett, can you make can you roll a D10? Please?
A D10?
Yes, a D10.
Alrighty. That's a 5.
So 5, I think 5 is pretty boring. Yeah, there's nothing really, unless you want to interact with them. It's a family of grazing, and now it says rhinoceros. Is that the plural of rhinoceros? Or is that a play with words?
It's a play on words, it sounds like.
So, Puckett, you tell me, as the only information I have, they are rhinoceros. They are grazing and they are gray. Like, what makes them animals of the grasslands?
A rhinoceros?
Well, a rhino is. My question is rhinoceros? Is that the plural of rhino?
You know what? Put it in chat.
I put it in chat.
I have no idea what the hell that is.
think
That's not a
that was
rhinoceros.
before
It's not a. What was
Yeah,
that? You said something, Abe?
Sounds like, looks like a play on words to me. I mean, it's rhinoceros, right?
Yeah.
What is
So-
the other element of the word that I don't get though? So rhino is rhino. It must be like a big hulking animal with a horn on its nose.
Mm.
What is the second part?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that part means. If it's trying to be like rhinothere or theris or something, but I'm not sure. I think it's just a neologism.
Yeah, could it be something like a dinosaur? Is that like a suffix that a
That would
dinosaur
usually
have?
end in saurus.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, let's put it this way: it is a herd of grazing rhino-looking animals. All right, and then you actually arrive at the village, and so what you see is the skyscraper also has some kind of creatures that crawl over it, and you can see that the obviously all the windows are missing, and they're replaced by what looks like honeycombs. So it's these octagonal shapes that have been dug into the side of the skyscraper. And you can see that occasionally something that looks like a badger, I want to say, sticks its head out, or actually climbs up the side of the building. And that seems to be more or less the only building that makes up this village, if this is indeed Red Beaver Village. There is, let's see, there is a lake to the north, but it's some ways away, maybe an hour of travel or something. There are a couple of kids playing in front of the skyscraper. They, it's really hot, so it's not like completely out of the ordinary. But none of them wear shoes, and it does seem as if the clothes are really thin, threadbare, and thin. They have dirty faces, and they're playing in front of they're playing some kind of game with like a furry something that they throw towards each other. And then next to the last thing I want to say is the next to the skyscraper, there seemed to be some kind of dugout, and it is dug out of a sediment of maybe shells, like oyster shells or something, and it seemed to be some kind of like 1-star accommodation,
Mm-hmm.
with 1 star being the worst that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the door to the skyscraper, and there are 2 villagers standing guard. Totally forgot something, guys, but it doesn't matter. Okay, it's okay. So there's the two guys standing as 2 villagers standing guard. So who's doing the talking? Everybody always looks at Ned as the leader and most charismatic person. You're muted, so still muted.
My charisma of 12 is our most charismatic person. We're in trouble.
I know you were in trouble the minute you started the journey.
I was in trouble the minute, yeah. If this is the only accommodations, I guess that's where we go.
I mean, is it the only accommodation? Might there be something better upstairs?
Well, so that there's the dugout of this. I think it's called midden. I looked it up. Midden, as in like old layers of shells. And then there's the skyscraper itself, obviously.
Well, I will approach and.
Mm-hmm. Let me see, which clan would it be? So I think the person talking to you, they don't look like Rainbowlanders. They also don't look like nomads. They seem to be their own kind a little bit. And actually, Dennis, can you make a D10 to see what you've heard about the people of Three Sticks Lake?
A D10? Okay.
It's a D10, random.
4.
4.
Oh, D10, okay.
So what you have heard about the villagers is that they are clannish to a fault and protect the community above the individual. And they would never sacrifice like somebody who's handicapped or a weakened elder or something. And they are.
What is this? The Redlands?
And they're quite, yeah. It sounds a bit like the Redlands, but less like a state informed, socialism. It's more like early, like 18th century socialism with village structures and so forth.
Okay.
Just want to make sure I heard that correctly. They will protect an individual, like basically to the death.
Yes.
If it's a member of their clan?
If it's a member of their clan. That courtesy does not include foreigners, so they are quite xenophobic.
So they would protect that person even if that person had done something wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless, that way is how I read it. Unless, so I think if somebody breaks the code of the community by, doing something against the communal will, they will be expelled. And being expelled is the worst thing that can happen. And then they're not part of the community anymore, and they would be treated as outsiders. So, Ned, what do you say to the two? And yeah,
Well, I will simply ask: Is this the accommodations for visiting caravans?
Visiting caravans. This is not a hotel. You can, if you want to, you could sleep in there. And she points towards the dugout, the middens.
Is there no accommodations for visitors?
Not for visitors, no. I'm afraid. Do you have food?
Yes, but we're trying to save it for our journeys.
She looks you up and down and obviously sees the symbol. Typical of you, isn't it? Thinking about yourself.
Do we not all prioritize ourselves? Is that not the teaching of the prophet, how to help ourselves, and therefore by helping others? The Great Circle of Prophets states that I make a transaction beneficial to me, and this allows you to make a transaction beneficial to you, and so forth through the Great Circle until it comes back to myself again. By helping myself, I help all.
There's something rotten with that circle, because last time I checked, there's nothing that came up our way.
Have you met caravans of ours before? Perhaps one about a month ago?
Yes, there was one. They was, they actually stayed for a day, and they said they wanted to travel. They wanted to take the other route. They wanted to take the route around the lake to the east. I mean, you can buy a map if you want. It's not cheap, but I could show you on the map.
Do we have maps? I assumed we do.
Yeah, you have the big map. On the big map, the these 6 area is 1 dot.
Yeah.
So she offers you to buy a detailed map of the area.
Any of y'all?
I sigh and walk up. How much for the map?
It's, let's see, I haven't thought about it. It's a very good map, she says. Really good, very detailed. Lots of secrets. It's 50. You can see that she's totally lying. Like, the official price, she said 50, but she's lying. She's a bad liar. She even smiled after she said 50, and the guy next to her tries to suppress like a chuckle.
I look at her.
50 cents?
She laughs.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you 10.
I was going to say 5, but you got there ahead of me.
So what's your approach here, Naida? Is it your presence? Is it just you stare her down? Is it more like menacing? Is it charming?
I think it's my wisdom as a Yellow Lander.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she should be able to see. I mean, they're clannish, so they should know a thing or two about the Yellow Landers.
Might be they're very isolated, though. So chances are that they have never seen a Yellow Lander before. I
mean, there aren't many of us. But is there a chance that they've heard of us from travelers?
Always a chance. I make a D6 roll. She didn't.
She did not. She has not heard of Yellow Landers.
Well, she has never met one, and her information about them is, Rainbow Landers, they're all crazy.
Mm. Well, that's not entirely untrue. So, yeah, I think I'd like to do it with wisdom. And can I roll with Yellow Lander as an advantage? So I roll with advantage?
Yeah, in theory, you can, if you explain to me how being a Yellow Lander helps you in this case. Like, is it that during your travels you had to survive and you know how to trust, or you know how to bullshit, or something like that?
I know how to tell bullshit from bullshit. This is one of those things that you learn because you see enough people bullshitting and often enough in markets when you're trying to scavenge to survive.
All right. So, what about roll your wisdom twice?
So 2d20. Nope, 13 and 19. And my wisdom is currently 10.
So she says, well, I was shitting you. the official price is 25, but obviously I'm not going under it.
I look at her, toss her 25 credits.
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
I look at her and toss her 25 credits.
Oh, okay. She grabs it, and then she goes back into the lobby of the. So she opens the doors, and for the first time you get a glimpse of the lobby inside, and it does look like the inside of like a gigantic tent or something. So there are fetishes on the walls. There are carpets on the floor. It looks more like something that you would expect from the nomads. That's something that you would see in the Rainbow Lands. And when she returns, she gives you this map. And if you go onto the map tab in our character keeper, and you scroll all the way down to 245. I will show this. Share screen for a second.
We got a hex crawl.
Yeah.
It looks like it. So you are here, a red bear. And so she points to the road, and she says, "So the Greenlanders, they came from the east, and I don't know what happened at the glass bridge, but they turned around and they told us that they will take the road all the way around the lake, because the problem is that you can't, there's no way to get over the bridge."
Is there no way to get over the bridge? Why is there no way to get over the bridge?
Sorry, there's no other way to get over the river, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
And
that's the bridge we just crossed?
Yeah, it's the bridge you just crossed. And for some reason, they didn't.
So they came.
Well, we knew that because they had said that.
This map that we just got, which is up is north or no?
Yeah, up is north.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have added compass.
No, it's all right. So they came from the east, you said? So they came from this road that leads to Red Bear?
Well, the people at Red Bear tell you that they came from the east and that they returned to the east. And that their plan was to go north in the direction of the Red River and the Wine River, and then all around the lake.
Instead of doing this crossing here across the old river?
Yes.
Got it.
So, looking at the notes, is Madame Red Star at the Red Bear?
Yes, that's what you heard.
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to look at the guard and say, by the way, I have a message for Madame Red Bear.
Madame Red Star. Yeah, Madame Red Star. When you mention the name Madame Red Star, there is an awe in her face. She makes a gesture, and you know that it has some religious meaning. Again, it's a gesture of reverence.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks you in the eye and she says, "I hope you're not joking. That's not a matter to joke about."
I'm a Yellow Lander. We don't have senses of humor.
Well, you're in the right place. We have either of neither. And she opens the door. And yeah, so how does Azure like enter the building? Does she bump into one of the guards, or how does her toughness manifest?
Well, she's obviously super annoyed at everything.
Mhm.
So she kind of like storms through and shoulder checks a guard on the way through and mutters at him, and just keeps moving. Dropping some choice curse words under her breath.
Mhm. So the female guard that opened the door is guiding you into the building. So you bump into the other guard who curses under his breath. And inside it's pretty bustling. There's a lot of motion there. People cooking some foul-smelling fish soup. There are these beavers repairing stuff in the inside, and then there's this two flight of stairs that lead to higher parts of the building, and this is where she leads you. And there's another door with guards in front of that, and the door constantly opens and closes, so people enter and leave. And the female guard exchanges some words with the guard in front of the door, and then you're let in. And inside is the thing dominating the room. Is it almost looks a bit like maybe an iron lung or something. With a couple of pipes sticking out vertically out of this thing. And the room is really warm. It has, shields and tapestries on the wall. So it's definitely the room of some kind of leader. And that iron lung kind of metal thing is is that a Big Lebowski reference?
It is indeed.
Very well. In any case, so it's on some kind of pedestal, not pedestal, but on some kind of it's a bit elevated on elevated ground. And there are people, the people who enter, approach the iron lung. They put their hand on it, they whisper something, and there's some sequence of piping tones that comes out of these pipes, and then they bow and disappear. And that is going on the whole time. It's a stream of people coming and going. And then there are people who the whole time kneeling next to the thing, with their hands touching the side of this iron container. And the guard bows very deeply, and she approaches the iron lung and says, Madam Redstar, they are foreigners for you. They have a letter. And then there's piping out of the pipes, and then she bows again, and she whispers to you, you may approach her.
Thank you. And I approach her with a letter from the satrap at Spectrum Run.
And a person who's kneeling next to it, she extends her hands.
And I hand it over.
Mm-hmm. And then she opens it, and others, look over her shoulder, and they whisper among each other, and then they whisper something to the machine. And then she says, it's a relatively young villager. She has some kind of I don't know. It looks as if it's some kind of mutation. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's like a scaly skin on one side of her face, and she says, Madam Redstar is thankful for your service.
Thank you. We were happy to help. What's your name?
Put it in a spot here. Let's see. My name is Crocker. What's your name?
I'm Nida. How old are you?
21. And she looks proud, as if being 21 and in her position is a great honor.
I lean
You
over
must be.
and I whisper to them, "Are we gonna make friends with everybody?"
Are you whispering to Ned?
To Nat specifically, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, Kraka, do you have a place here where we can trade for food?
Sorry, Parker. How does Ned react to that remark?
The blessings of the prophet must be spread wherever we can, but only for those who are willing to listen to him.
I roll.
Of course.
I mean, Azure had her fair share of wisdom, from Ned about how the prophet works. So that's not the first time you heard this. You hear the sermon. And Kraka answers, we don't have much food, but you can buy some if you want to.
Of course.
From the way she was talking earlier, is pretty sure they want food because she said something to the effect of, "Oh, you have it for yourself," when she asked about food. So I know they want food.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have enough food that we can sell them some, we can. Now, of course, it would never occur to Nat to do that. But if somebody...
I mean, Ned also knows.
Okay, he will. Yes, Nat would know that they could sell food for a profit, and so Nat would think of it that way.
You can also grease them to get information or a better deal.
Yeah.
Tell me, Kraka, does Madam Redstar have a message that needs to be delivered back to the satrap at Spectrum Run?
She turns around and whispers something to the machine, and then the machine. It's almost as if it is a little bit of laughter through the piping sound. And Kraka turns to you and says, Madame Redstar is very amused about the blatant attempt of the imperialistic pigs to drive a wedge between villages, but she declines. And the message doesn't have to be sent.
Very well. Is there anything else we can do for Madam Redstar?
She turns to the machine, and the machine pipes again, and then she says, be careful when dealing with a jade baobab. I think your information is incomplete.
Our information was that they were in league somehow with the Porcelain Princes. Is that correct?
Yes.
What else should we know?
You should know that in these parts of the world, we don't think in terms of profit. We think in terms of survival. You should know that.
I do. Obviously, you've met Yellowlanders before.
We have. We are a remote part of the Grasslands, but we are less backwater than some people think.
Generally, when you're in remote parts, you have to be very cosmopolitan. Dealing with people is how you survive.
That is not our experience.
I see. Thank you, Madam Red Star. It is an honor.
Another pipe. And, while you were talking, there were people coming in and out, again, whispering something to her and receiving some kind of information. And that's obviously like multitasking while you were talking. Okay, what do you do now?
Okay, somebody who knows, what is our supply situation?
We could use food, but we don't really have enough to trade.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, we're good on food. We do not have enough that we can just trade it.
Okay,
And
so
the fact that she just said the thing about we deal in survival, not profit, means there's probably not much we can trade to him here. Outside of, like, food.
Well, the thing I was going to ask... How important do we think Madam Red Star is?
what do you think?
She seems to be fairly important. I mean, she's obviously their leader, probably their spiritual leader as well.
Yeah.
Why do you ask?
Let's
About
kill
how
her.
important she is.
No.
Kidding.
Because we have a replacement body with no consciousness in it, sitting in the auto wagon.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
And yeah, we have it. We're storing it for Chris's, or for Saffron's mother.
Mm-hmm.
But and I know we didn't do it for the Ultra, but I don't.
So
Okay.
maybe
What are we trying to accomplish here? Let's start there. Do they have something here that we need?
I don't have an answer to that. What I am thinking is that this could change things between the satraps and Red Bear, or it could give us more reliable intel or information on the area or an alliance in the area, so that as we investigate the missing caravans, we've got a leg up.
So what you can always do is, like at any location where you are, you can do the typical things. You can do market research, maybe interesting for net. You can carouse, which means you spend a certain amount of money and gain, I don't want to say the trust necessarily, but you become more like a local. That goes for a club you go, or a restaurant, or in this case, you would carouse with the villagers. And you can look for discoveries in the area. And obviously, outside of this is the main things where you can only do one of these things per character. And outside of this, you can obviously ask around for the caravans. ask about things on the map and so forth.
Did we already do all of our rolls for this area?
No,
Nope, haven't done any of them, I don't think.
Can I look for vial parts in the skyscraper?
the skyscraper is I don't know what the nomenclature is. Not nomenclature. It's not a place where you can find. Oh, is it? Hold on a second.
But is it like old? Is it from like pre?
Oh,
Apocalypse?
yeah, it is definitely, but it is a destination, I think, because you don't get experience points for finding it. So what you let me think. Actually, well, what you always can do is look for discoveries in the area, and I think. Yeah, you got the experience point for Glassbridge, so why not? Yeah, you can. Then this is the discovery, if you will. Yeah, to make your both. You could make a roll for for your XP trigger.
What do I roll? D20?
No, you do have to roll a. I think you have a 25% chance.
Oh, so D100? Okay.
Yes. Yes, 20% chance. And the same goes for Sarko.
Sorry, what did you need from Sarko?
So you could, because this is
for the
in
clues.
your case it's the clues for the ledger, and in Azure's case it's for the vial parts.
I rolled a 99. Is that like a crit fail?
No, there's no crit, like a fumble or something.
I get a 22, which I think is just
short of being a success. Wow, ouch.
Yep.
Okay, so do you my first question is, do you stay next to do you stay at the dugout that the villagers showed you, and then you do the things that you can do in an area, or do you just move on? I think that is the first question.
as far as
Let's keep it moving.
yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, and if we go to the map, unless somebody else wants to do something like the carousing, the looking for discoveries might be interesting for Zarko and Azure, and the market research could be interesting for Net.
Well, the only thing with market research is, again, the person just said they don't believe in profit here.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in survival.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have food for their own. I have no idea what kind of goods there are here to market.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't sound promising.
Yeah, that is true.
I would like to ask Kraka if they know anything about the missing caravans.
Mm-hmm. So while you leave the building, Kraka, accompanies you, shows you the way out, and she says, "Oh, these three. Well, I heard about the Rainbow Landers. Sorry, were they Redlanders? I don't even know. The Scavengers.
Rainbow Lander. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Scroll back up.
I think there were a bunch of scavengers.
Rainbow Land Scavengers.
Yeah.
Brook Settlers, Rainbow Land Scavengers, Greenland Traders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of them were Redlanders, and they passed through, and they actually wanted to go to Ferry's grave because they heard that there were a lot of old machines there that they could scavenge.
That's what I was looking at on the map. That looks awesome.
Mm.
And then the Greenlander, they traveled east, and then they said they wanted to travel north. I haven't heard about these purple folk.
Okay.
Although it's smart to do, checking out the Skull Mountain sounds pretty cool.
I mean, again, if you scout the area for discoveries, then you get obviously information about the things that you can find in the area. Let's share the screen again.
So, what did we learn about about Red Bear from the people rolling for discoveries?
Well, the problem is officially, I think the assumption from Luca was that you would arrive from the east because the general direction is always traveling west. Mm-hmm. So Red Bear is a destination and Old River is a location. So for Old River, you would get 100 XP, which we can do at the end of the. So Red Bear is a destination where you can again carouse, look for locations, do market research, forage, and so forth.
Do we want to see what we can do that research and find out maybe what's happening in the where the bus is in the Skull Mountain?
Yeah, you can. I don't know. How do you scout the area, Azure?
Hold on one second. How? I don't know. What's the general protocol for such things?
I think the general gist of things was that you were actually planning to travel east. I think was the general idea. So unless you check in, that is what you do. If you want to scout the area, you would have to stay at the pretty smelly, a shell dugout.
Mm.
Well, we can do that. What Nat can do is Nat can attempt to prove to these inhabitants of Red Bear who have turned their back on the prophet that there must be something here that others would like, and so he can introduce them to the great circle.
Mm-hmm. Is that like preaching? Do you preaching to?
Remember, the Cogflowers are described as the Cogflower Church. So
yes, I love it. How does it look like? Do you build a stage? How do you try to attract listeners?
I will bring out my copies of the spreadsheets and start showing them the holy annotations and explain how basically this thing is worth less to you than this other thing, and therefore we make this trade, and then the less to you is worth more to someone somewhere else, and I will trade it for. And we just lost Horst.
Yeah, I'm back. I was lost for a second.
Okay,
but I heard everything.
Okay, I just saw it go to spinny. So,
so you
and eventually another trader will come through again, enriched by that first trade that they started with.
I think.
And yes, to respond to the thing in the chat, Matt's full of bullshit. But I am not my character. Just like
that is. We take Nat seriously here, even if their ideas are complete bullshit. So let's see. How do you? So before you start preaching your, I think the way you want to attract people is by giving out free shit. In this case, your spreadsheets.
And I will try to get away with giving away some of our food, even though.
Now we're talking. There's not even a role involved. The moment you get out the food, first obviously the children come. and they don't like put it in their mouth first. You can see that they actually make sure that everyone gets the same share. And then
I mean, I'm not giving them a week's worth of supplies, but I'm giving them some supply.
They also don't use up everything. They rather run into the skyscraper, and within like a couple of minutes, you have your crowd, a crowd of people who stand around and they look at the script, the spreadsheet, and they listen to your teachings, the teachings of the prophet, and let's see how successful you are in, is it proselytizing? What's the word of
Proselytizing.
Proselytizing. And it's not entirely binary. So even if you don't succeed, you might, unless it's like a fumble, you might get some folks. But I want to say it is with disadvantage, because everything you say is completely against everything that they have been brought up with.
Disadvantage. Oh boy. Okay.
Unless you say that sounds completely unfair.
No, it's fair. Like I said, I understand, Nat. So let's see here. So that's a D20, right?
Yes, a D20. You want to roll your.
I rolled a 14 and a 19, and since I've got disadvantage, I guess it's the 14.
Well, yeah, you want to roll low, so it's the 19.
So it's a 19. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. So they eat the food that you removed from the caravan supplies. They look at the spreadsheet. Like some of them just throw it on the ground. Well, actually, they keep it because it's paper and it can be used for something. Some are spitting. There's one younger villager who listens to the whole sermon until the end and stays, and after the show approaches you. And he says, so his name is Big Nose. Let's see. We have some of the honor. He's called Bang. I like that better. So Bang. And he has also a soft voice, and he's seemingly trying to imitate you, but without, taking the piss or something, more out of, I don't know, respect or something. And he says, it does make sense. I mean, why are we so poor? Because we have never heard about these trading things. And why won't you, like, unless we start trading, we will never be prosperous. I think it all makes sense.
Then the prophet has seen the wisdom to bring one of us into the corporation. Therefore, we welcome you. Just remember what I have taught you.
I'm so sorry that the others think in the old ways, but I will spread the word. And he imitates your gesture. Okay, the others. What are you doing?
I think if Sarko sees anybody who looked bored during the presentation about, arbitrage and so forth, he's trying to chat them up and say, if this doesn't grab you, you're probably wasting a lot of resources on Madame Red Star that could really, be better used for the people that actually, keep this community running. He's doing a little bit of that. No masters talk.
Mm-hmm. So the person you're talking to is unimpressed. I mean,
yeah, I imagine.
What you're saying is blasphemous.
Mm-hmm.
It's like let's kill Jesus to a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that. Let's do it.
So yeah, she does not listen to you at all.
Yeah. What you need is a no gods, no kings, only men.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have like a terrible lag at the moment. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Think so? I
Fine.
mean, I'm hearing you fine. I'm not hearing
Okay.
you loud.
Okay, weird. Anyways, what is Nida doing? Like, do we stay? It does sound as if you want to do some stuff here. You can just stay, or we say, let's check out another destination. I mean, now you have the new information that Ferry Graves is where the Redland scavengers went, and you haven't heard about the Purple Folk.
Yeah, I thought we were going to stay and do like research or whatever, research the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to actually try to do a market research because there's got to be something here.
Okay, cool. So you check into. I mean, you don't have to really check into these. They're almost like caves. You can also probably just sleep in the trucks, but you do stay there for a week. So let's go over the. Oh, I am lost. I lost you guys.
Oh no.
I do want to see if there's any weapons there that are useful.
You
You know me and my gun collection.
So what they have is, I think the best weapons they have are probably a bow and arrow. There's a couple of them have these scavenger bolters, lenses for like spears for fishing. That is what they have.
So no grenades or anything
but-
like that?
no grenades here.
Yet. I like the yet.
Yet. So what we can do is, I think Azure wanted to scout the area. Is that true?
You're muted, Abe.
Sorry. Yeah, if we're hanging out, yes.
Okay. So you do hang out. Do you move into the midden, or whatever it's called?
Into the skyscraper?
No, into the shell dugout.
I don't know. What are you guys all doing? Are you going to stay in the stinky skyscraper?
So it's called the Red Bear Guest and Servicing Accommodation, and it's free, safe, and damp and unsanitary gases carved out of ancient midden layers.
Okay, so it's like a fossilized dump to live in.
Pretty much.
I'm sleeping in the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Also free. Okay, and then Azure. Obviously, you can walk around a little bit, and then you will find out that about half a day travel, probably a bit shorter. There's the shores of the lake. You can see that there's a ferry. And when you talk to the ferry people, they will tell you that there's a ferry that goes to Skybridge. Let's go back to our map.
Sky River?
Yeah, Skybridge is a bridge over Sky River.
Oh, okay.
And let's see, what's the other?
And it leaves from Ferry Graves, or it leaves nearby here?
Yeah, it leaves from here. It leaves from Red Bear Village.
And can we take it to Ferry Graves?
No, the other route is, let's see, there's a ferry to Skybridge, there's a ferry to the Jade Baobab, and that is the two destinations that they have.
Are there any private boats that we could rent or bribe these guys to take us to Ferry Grave?
I mean, they're
we got money.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're so rich that you can probably buy the ferry. There are also fisher boats that you can try to persuade them to, I don't know, if they take you somewhere else.
Do you guys want to go check out Fairy Grave? It seems like it's rife for some cool shit.
Could we? Does anyone here in Red Bear have like a lowdown on like what the Fairy Grave is? Right? Is it, you know, is it worth
Yeah,
a trip? It sounds
You
interesting,
can
but I want to
definitely
make
talk.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, do you try to carouse with them, or is it more like you stay the visitor, and it's more like you talk to them?
I'll try to get the real scoop in the carousing method.
Nice. Now we're talking. So carousing with the villagers. Let's see. Though poor, a good feast is definitely a way to get ahead among the villagers. A hero spends 1d6 times 50 on a week of solid feasting and gains that many XP. So
Okay.
roll a d6 times 50.
All right. 2.
So that
So
is 100 gold or coin or cash, 100 cash, 100 XP. And
I'll modify this cash number here.
and now,
yeah.
Now we want to see how the carousing goes. So it is a charisma test, which in our case, because we use the UVG map, is a D20, and you would add or subtract your classic D&D modifier. So,
Okay, I think mine's a flat roll. I think I have an 11 charisma. So no modifier.
Right. Yes. Okay. So a flat
14.
It's a 14. One of us. You have been accepted into an obscure small clan, probably dealing with sanitation and waste disposal. A prestigious upper crust clan now mildly dislikes you.
That's all right. Probably mutual.
Yeah, so how does it look like? I think so obviously you spend the money on. And do you spend the money primarily on food, on booze, on both?
Yeah, I think what's the clan that I get in good with? Like what like you mentioned, like what do you think their deal is?
So it's definitely the clan of sanitation. So these clans are actually families. They're just like uncles and nephews and so forth.
Okay.
And so I think it's just called the clan for sanitations, and their deal is the problem of the immediate environment, like the immediate shore of Three Sticks Lake, is that there are these old pipes that lead into the lake, and what they do is they try to clean these pipes so that there's no like ancient waste going into the lake, destroying all the fish.
I think given that, I think the carousing money goes towards like really decadent series of spa days for some of the sanitation workers that culminates in a sort of like, it's like a mud bath, except it also gets you drunk.
Nice. Excellent. Awesome. And so obviously during the time of mud bathing, they tell you, you know what, Fairy Graves is really dangerous. I mean, sure, there are these old ferries that you can be found, and you can probably salvage machine parts without, like really a lot of them. because it hasn't been picked clean in the last centuries. But the reason why it's not picked clean is there's so many dangers. The translucent crocodilians, they're the toxic moles, the radioactive glass scorpions, they are the electric snakes, they are the big jellies. I mean, it's a nightmare out there. And then there's the mud itself, and there's the heat, and there's the mosquitoes. I'm telling you this because you're family now. Don't go there.
Okay.
It's like a grave.
Okay. Cool. Well, I thank them for this information. And when next with the caravan, I relate the disappointing news that the ferry just sounds like a bad time, a roadside attraction, perhaps not worth visiting.
Mm-hmm. And so, Azure, you were in the what's it called? Like, you wanted to actually scout the area, so you strolled over to the ferry and so forth. Like, you can always ask for direction. You can ask people. You can theoretically climb the skyscraper. You can look, for other high points. What's your approach?
Can I get to is it? Can you get to the top of the skyscraper, or at least high up on the floors?
So definitely. So you can definitely, once you're not part of the family. You're not Sarko, but now you're like a regular guest, and so they just lead you inside of the into the skyscraper.
I showed
and if you want,
that I'd shoulder checked before and mutter at him.
okay, what do you say?
Something to the effect of "out of my way, plebe."
Let's make a reaction roll just for shits and giggles. Lower, like, like a 1 is that he's striking out. A 6 is he likes you because you're a bully. Oh, it
sick.
is a 6. So he looks admiringly at you and makes way and opens the door. And he says something like to the other guard, "That's a tough lady. I like her."
Lock your mouth there, pal. I keep moving.
Okay, and so let's make a roll. Let's see. I completely forgot. Is it it's the way you do it. So I think the way you describe it is trying to get as high as possible. So I could see dexterity, or I could see wisdom. And it's a normal check, so just
right. Doesn't matter. I guess.
So do you climb?
Because I have one better chance
In dexterity or wisdom?
Dexterity.
Yeah, so maybe you climb. You can't get to the upper floor because it's sealed off. Maybe you have to climb outside and climb on top of the thing. Okay, make your roll to see if you can spot something from up there.
Rolled a 6. Made it.
Awesome. And let's see. Discoveries.
My death.
Let's roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Roll a D9. Again, guess a D8 because you have already found one of these locations, which is Glass Bridge.
Rolled 3.
3. So let's see. 1. No, that's not 1. It is 1. 1, 2, 3. So I can only assume that you have probably maybe Nida has lent you her scope, because what you find is pretty far away actually.
Okay.
So if you go to the map and you look at Gravel River or Gravel probably. So next to where the Gravel River leads to the lake itself, you can see something glinting in gold.
In gold?
Mm-hmm. It glints like gold.
Interesting. All right.
You can't. It looks weird. It looks like it's difficult to really make out from afar. It's almost as if they're like maybe tubes or something, tubes of gold or something.
Okay. All right. So I'll head back down, and when I get down there, I'll stop by the guard that likes me and ask him. I'm like, hey, over by the fairy graves, is there gold? There gold pipes or something over there?
Fairy graves? Well, I personally haven't been there.
Or gravel river?
Gravel River. You know, I have to say, I'm staying in the village. Do you want to have a drink or something? He's hitting on you.
Well, generally I prefer stuff a little harder, but you know, sure.
Cool. You have a date with let's see, who's that? You have a date with Whoosh.
Boosh?
I'll write it in chat. It's the sound you make when you don't get the point, I think.
Oh, whoosh. Got it. What's he look like?
He looks like a mixture between Vin Diesel and some American wrestler that I don't really know the name of. He looks like a wrestler.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Bald, like that's why he,
That's why he likes me.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, cool. And so Nida, what is Nida doing for the week?
I'm looking around for work to do. I mean,
cool.
This is one of those things where there's got to be something that somebody who's handy with tools can do around here. And I also want to think about this whole Madam Red Star situation.
Mm-hmm. So let's see what kind of work they have. It's all clan based. So there's the clan of maintenance and repair. They work with the badgers. There's the clan of logistics specialists. I'm not sure what they do. The supply chain manager is the security. They take care of the of these. I actually haven't described them, but in the around the perimeter of the skyscraper, there's some kind of fortifications, and at night at least you can see these fetishes. They're not dissimilar to your guard fetish. They look pretty sinister, and maybe you have seen that they spit some kind of, it looks like thorns or something, at intruders. And that, in your case, it was just some kind of animal trying to enter. And then there's the clan of public relations, who is responsible for trade. So that's probably the ones that Ned will talk to. But any of these sound, there's obviously the clan of sanitation that cleans the pipes, which is the least prestigious job.
Which clan helps out with Madam Red Star?
Ooh, I think that is. Um, there are a couple of like all of them. You know, what's it called? Like all of them pass on information to her. She's like the spider in the web. So every time something's happening, they go to her. But I think the one that is mostly taking care of her is the clan of True News Distribution.
Yeah, I kind of want to work on, if I can, I want to work on stuff there to figure out more about her, who she is, what value she holds in the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like unless so I think it's really difficult to get into one of these clans. Saako could get into the clan because he caroused with them. So what I could imagine more is that you take on some kind of manual labor. Um, you could work as a fisher, or at security, whatever you like, and then ask your the people you work with about her.
Well, honestly, security is probably more my speed.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think you get the shift with Whoosh, who's standing guard, and he's really interested in Azure. I know that Abe is not at the keyboard at the moment.
Oh, I can totally give him some deets on Azure. I can give him skinny, the lowdown.
Okay, so
I have reached out. I didn't announce that. My bad.
Okay, no worries. So he says, that lady you're with, what's her name again?
Azure.
What does she like? I mean, it's not that I can take her out to dance or something, but
lately, honestly, she's gotten kind of aggressive. I mean, got any pest control problems around here?
we do. I mean, obviously, let's see. We do have problems with. I wouldn't call them pests per se, but our biggest problems are the cold worms. I mean, the village would probably prosper if our fishers could just go out on the lake. But more often than not, they are grabbed by the cold worms and just disappear.
You can't exactly just run around and smack them with a hammer, can you?
Unless you can breathe underwater, and your hammer, underwater hammering apparently is not the most efficient way to kill some things.
No, not really. Try to wrestle with her, I guess. Go spar with her.
I mean, does she like that kind of thing? I don't even know if I would win. I mean, does she lift?
Have you looked at her?
She lifts.
Look, we don't have a lot of room for free weights or anything like that. So all of her strength is functional. It's all gained from hauling things around, throwing things, hammering things, smashing things, fighting things. It's all natural. She doesn't sit on a weight bench. But no, if you can take her out hunting, maybe you guys can get some food for the village.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like fun. Thanks. So do you, so in that week of work, do you try to get more information out of them?
Yeah, I want to get a sense of who Madame Red Star is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, what she did before she was put into the Siren Lung. You know, how crucial she is to the broader area.
Mm-hmm. It's a very touchy subject. I think the general idea that you get is that there is no person in an iron lung. It's not really an iron lung. It's they refer to her sometimes as the furnace, and you get the idea. Definitely, she seems to be either immortal, well, maybe not immortal, but not like an entirely biological entity.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find out more, because it's a touchy subject, you would
Sure.
have to roll.
Oh, why not?
There's a certain, and then you tell me again your approach. So how do you try to get the information?
No, give me a second here.
It's normally always charisma if you just talk with people. Is what I assume.
I still have a group that I can add.
Aha.
Because
Yes.
I'm at level 4. So how many groups should I have this affiliation with now?
How many groups in general you should have at level 4 as a deft? Give me a second. Is 3 groups, which has changed from 2 in the beginning. And your groups are your affiliation,
Tribe.
and your heritage. So you get a third.
All right. Yeah, because I have a Yellow Lander next to Wisdom and Con both.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that is normal because heritage is next to 2 stats and can be invoked negatively, theoretically.
Okay, so heritage is next to 2 stats. So then there's a group next to the third. So I should have 4 groups, like two Yellow Lander, 1 Legion, and then something else.
And then something else, exactly. I mean, you can think about it, Pocket, and I.
Come back to me in a second.
Yes. Okay. So Nat is doing the market research. So I think the first thing you would probably want to know is what they actually like. What do they trade?
What do they trade, and what do they have an excess of?
So let's see. I don't think
they're obviously buying food from somewhere.
Unless I haven't seen it, we do need to roll randomly. So why don't you give me a D30? So it's on this YD XDY or something that you can roll.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I was looking for it. I knew it was on there. 1D30 gives me a 7.
Interesting. So you find out that they have dry land coral seeds, which they more or less found in somewhere in the basement. So they have an absolute surplus of that. And they're willing to trade. And so the market research could be about that trade good in neighboring areas.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
so
that was just to see what do they have. And now, so for the market research,
yes.
You want to have, I think, 3 consecutive destinations, I think. So you would have to spend the whole week. Let's see. I've done this like 10 times already. I have to look it up every time. So spend 1 week and 1d6 times 100. Oh no, that is the haggling. The market research is.
I think it's 1d6 times.
Spend 1 week and 5 times local expenses, which in this case is like a standard, I think 10 coin.
Okay, so
and learn local price of a trade good in a chain of 3 destinations, starting with an adjacent one.
Okay.
So once you have paid the fee, so to speak.
Okay.
So how would that look like? Like, how do you spend the money to get information about the value of these coral seeds in the neighborhood, let's say?
Are there other caravans around here? Maybe I could be schmoozing with the members of other caravans just to kind of get the information from them without letting them know I've got a source.
Okay, cool. So why don't you have a random Karen generator just to see what kind of trading caravan is it? So if you would roll a d6 just to see.
D6. Why did you not? Oh, I have to type a number.
That is good. All the words?
A 1, yep.
A 1. So there's a group of nomads that herd a herd of antlered horses through the village, and they have these. I don't know if I think you met them before. They're from the Copperwire clan. So they have these gas masks and like a crown of copper wire around their heads. And yeah, they're resting at the Red Bear accommodation, where you also theoretically can hang out. And when you approach them, you can definitely spend the money for food, and that they are a bit like they think that alcohol is actually a sin. So giving out booze is not a good idea, but you can definitely invest that money in food and feast with them.
Okay.
And so what you now would do is market research table. Let's see. A relevant test for each destination. So you would say, okay, you pick a chain of 3 destinations. So 3 consecutive destinations. So for example, I don't know.
Okay, we just came from the glass bridge, so the next 3 would be, if we're going around like that way, it would be gall grass, refracting trees, and then I don't know, where are we planning to go after that, gang? Are we going to Spectrum Palace or Spectrum Run?
So let's show the map.
Spectrum Palace, isn't it?
Okay, so Gallgrass, Refracting Trees, Spectrum Palace.
Okay, these 3. And so you make 3 like different roles for these destinations. The problem here is it looks like a flat D20 with relevant skill. So a relevant stat. Which could be, it could theoretically be intelligence, It could be wisdom. Most likely, it would be charisma, and then you would add your modifier.
My charisma's 12, which I think is no modifier.
Yeah.
So I roll 3d20.
So the first one, which is Galgrass.
Okay, we'll just read them in order from left to right then.
Yes.
Okay, so 2, 4, and 11. So Gallgrass, I got a 2.
Low demand or brainwashing. They don't want it at all. And then?
Okay.
The second one?
Refracting Trees got a 4.
A 4 is the same.
And Spectrum Palace is 11.
That makes more sense because it's obviously... so the factor is 1. They buy it but disapprove of it. The good thing is that the coral dry seeds are what another player called a dense commodity. So I think it's something like 5,000 per sec. But the factor is 1, so you would have to hope that either you get a better price later on, or you make like really good haggling roll.
Well, we all know how well Nat rolls.
That is true. But just
Nat,
as a... Yeah, go on.
You realize Nat is probably the worst cod flower ever.
That is true. Yeah, so the dry coral seeds, they are not super dense. They're good. It's 1,000 per sack. So that means that even if you don't sell them at Spectrum Palace, later on they could be worth like a lot.
So,
but you can also travel to Jade Baobab or the third village and see what they have to sell.
Would that be part of the same week, or would I have to spend a week at each of them?
That would be the next destination.
Okay. Because right now, I'm not sure just breaking even would be worth it.
It seems sort of counterintuitive to the to not make the most profit possible.
Exactly.
But again, traveling empty also sounds like sacrilege.
Yes, Matt would feel that way.
Yeah, but breaking even is pointless. I mean, it just takes up slots that we could use to put something in that we could actually turn a profit from, or food, which we need.
Right.
Or the classic, anybody need a ride and want to pay a little? If we've got empty space.
Magic bus, huh?
We just lost Horst again.
No, give him a minute.
Okay. No, I've got I'm running this for my local group right now, and their version has come up. They've come up with grays, haze, or lays as opposed to gas grass rice.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a bard who is going to play the ultimate into the universe.
Nice.
But back to this game now that Horse is back. But yeah, Nat will be unhappy about the empty slots, but even Nat will understand that why should we take up space for something that I know I can't make a profit at for at least 2 stops when maybe at the next stop I can pick up something that I can take a profit with. So he's looking at the opportunity cost of the empty slots.
Ned, while you were, talking to the clansman. Clansman sounds wrong. The clan nomads.
Clan member.
Yeah.
The nomads. You you definitely in the in the last couple of days you have seen some of the members of Red Bear Village. I think I always call them Red Beaver. It's Red Bear Village, and they seem to be on drugs. So that they seem to be hyperactive and not acting normally. So obviously, you do know that drugs are illegal, but they are the most profitable commodity if you're willing to go, that route. And there's no moral code within the Cockflower Church that says drugs are not okay, because they are super okay.
Mm.
Okay.
From from how the folk are acting, what does it seem like they are enjoying, right?
It seems to be an upper. It's something that makes them work harder, act faster. It also makes them mumble a bit and talk a lot.
All right. Pardon. I asked the clan that I got in good with, those sanitation workers, like, oh god, it's got to be some long nights down there in the sewer pipes sometimes, and I notice y'all don't seem to ever fade too much when you're on the job. What's the story there?
Some of us enjoy golden amber. I personally, the person you're talking to, I disapprove of it. It's slightly painful, and once you're on it, you're on it.
Oh. What's painful about it?
Well, she lifts her tongue, and and you can see that there's it looks like punctures under the tongue.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I took it once, and that's like months ago.
But you managed to shake it? So
I'm strong-willed. But I knew once I was good.
Trying to put this in a way where hopefully I don't lose too much standing is like, where would a person who's interested in also perhaps trying things once go?
I mean, the best guy to talk to is Whoosh.
Okay. I know that Nat's been on the hunt for a potential profit-making enterprise, so I pass this intel along. Hey, there's Whoosh is the person to talk to for Golden Ember, and I explain a little bit about it. Probably not something we'll be using ourselves unless you enjoy dosing your tongue. But it sounds like there could be some money there.
Thank you. The blessings of the prophet upon you.
Which brings us to Azure's date. So Whoosh wants to take you out hunting. Not sure if
hunting. I don't know.
Wrestling. I mean, wrestling is cool. He looks very defensive.
Are there wrestlers here?
He looks down at himself. Wow. I mean, yeah.
Okay. That sounds great. Let's go.
All right. So he seems to hold back a little bit when you wrestle. Do you try to win?
Oh, I thought you meant like WWF wrestling.
Yeah. That's what I thought too.
I mean, do you think
that's actually what I meant?
Yeah, I didn't think I would be. That's a bit forward on the first date.
So, do you mean going to a wrestling match?
Yes.
Is what?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought you meant.
Okay. So actually, what is happening is, during the week, I think Beth has talked with a couple of the security guys for Dennis' sake. Beth is a new addition to the caravan, and she is a retired wrestler.
Now, Umberto's going to want to get in on this because he's the best.
Umberto is the best, but after losing out like 10 matches in arm wrestling with Beth, he says he's the best in other things, like not wrestling.
That's
Wait.
great.
Sharpshooting,
Is that a crisis of confidence or faith for him?
it is not, because he knows that if fencing, swimming, diving, running, he's good in all these things. Wrestling, I just don't have he says, I don't have the body for it. In any case, Beth has made friends with a couple of the villagers, and so she spars with them, and had prepared like some kind of championship that you can visit on the last day. And so everybody is there. The whole village has gathered. I think where would the ring be? I don't know. Anybody has a good idea?
Is it in their skyscraper or outside it?
Probably within. Is it like an old gym or something?
Trying to think of what would be a fun place. What kind of building was this before? Was it just like sort of a general skyscraper? Was it an old hotel?
It looks like an old hotel. The whole area has like a resort vibe.
Mm.
I mean, not now, but in the long ago.
There's probably an atrium, so you could actually have people up on the second floor looking down.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, I saw that the like balconies going around and
So old escalators that are now just stairs.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, and during the match, Whoosh tries to be super. I don't know, like not super friendly, because he knows that you're more the rough type, but he's asking you if you want to drink, if you can see well, and so forth. How do you react?
Yeah, I'll have a drink. Got anything else? Wink, wink.
Yeah, he looks around and he gets the. It looks like a small ember, almost a pearl, and he slips it into your palm. Put it under your tongue, and he puts one out for himself.
So he does it?
He does it.
Okay, I'll do it too.
All right, so the first thing, let me see, my drugs effect table. So it's a small pearl of this condensed amber liquid. The first thing you feel is like there's this. It almost feels as if the pearl takes root in the space under your tongue, and it's a bit painful. But the second afterwards is everything is slowing down around you. So you can move much quicker than the rest of the world. Also, there's a mild euphoria. You can focus on the match itself or on whatever you want. There's like a tunnel vision that you get. And you feel that you're talking a lot all of a sudden. So for people outside is the two of them, they look like a bit hyperactive. They are laughing and talking to each other and are much more like outgoing than the second before. And he also says, this is a commitment. The amber pearls. If you want to get rid of it, you have to get rid of it now, or it will stay in your mouth for a week.
Well, what does that mean?
Is it like a creature? Sounds like an egg.
I mean, you really haven't looked at it closely.
Or a seed.
That too, yeah.
So wait, so if I don't spit it out now, am I just going to be hooked on it, or is
No,
it?
not you're not hooked on it. It's just the effect
Tripping.
will be for a week.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, cool. You can also write down you have now 2 attacks.
Anger and hopped up on something is a good combination.
Very good combination. All right.
If there's any kind of like groundlings area where you pay cheap to watch from, the sawdust portion of the arena, I think Sarko's probably enjoying the, pugilists. I guess they're not boxers.
They're not boxers. And it's more. Yeah, go on.
Do they have? Is it like wrestling? Like, do they have gimmicks?
It seems you would assume that they have talked beforehand, like they have talked with each other beforehand, because it does look a bit staged. And Bebeth wins every game with like the most ridiculous turn of events, where she was down and in a chokehold. But then pumped herself up and threw the person over the out of the ring. So yeah, it is over the top action, but it's good fun and people are cheering. And then the last match is obviously against some kind of village hero, and she loses, and there's a big cheer and. Yeah, that was your last night at Red Bear. What do you do the next day? Let's say how does the date go, Azure? How does the date end?
Let's see. Basically, I flirt with him a lot and get as much of the free drugs as I can. So, and I promise to look him up the next time we come through.
He looks slightly disappointed, but he says, "I'm really looking forward to it. Like next time, I'll be here. We can make it up."
Yes, absolutely. You're all man.
Cool. So the next day, where do you go to? You're traveling east, I assume.
Are we going to buy any of these drugs?
Oh yeah, that's another question. So Ned, do you or Azure? I don't know if you can make a deal.
Did I get free drugs out of him?
I want to say
if we can make a deal, we will. Yes.
Yeah. So I want to say, let's see how many. Make a charisma roll, and then we see how many. I would say the maximum we could get out of him is 6.
Okay.
Who is making the charisma roll?
Azure, because she's flirting. And then Ned, you can just buy them.
Nope, I got a 17.
So you get, let's say, it gives you 1 extra,
right,
for the next week.
So how many more how much do they cost?
Say it again?
How much do they cost if I want to buy more?
So let's see. I want to look at other drugs, rare drugs. Ooh, 10,000 per sack.
How much? What's in a sack? Is it like 100,000 of them, or more?
Probably like 100 or something.
10,000.
Yeah.
That's kind of a rip.
That is rich.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I was looking at rare drugs, and that's it. That is what the
Right.
the
No,
table
I
said.
hear you. I just think from a fiscal standpoint, it's irresponsible to spend that much money on something to keep me revved up and violent for a while.
It's sinking a lot of money at once for sure.
I mean, from his perspective, they normally don't trade. That is not a trade good. It's
So this is
however,
like if we went
That's
somewhere
retail.
else, it might be like, yo, this shit is super rare. I've never heard of this. And pay through the nose for it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's street value is what you're quoting.
Yeah, among obviously
wholesale price.
Among people in Red Bear, it's I don't know. You give me a haircut or something, and you get a.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
so he's ripping us off.
I don't think so. I think this is the value if you sell it to Spectrum Rum. But obviously, the wisdom of the prophet hasn't really reached the minds of the villagers.
So
I tried.
If I want to get a sack of it from him, it's 10,000.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
I don't know how hard won your cash is, but it looks like the caravan has,
Does have the cash.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I mean, that's a lot of money to commit. How much do we have?
That is a lot of money to commit.
It says 57,000 here.
Oh, really? That's a fifth of our money.
For one sack, you could also buy 5 sacks.
The upside of that is that it's like very efficient, right? It's small small amount of space that it takes out.
I'd be more inclined to say yeah.
Can I charisma roll to see if I can get a discount?
No.
Okay.
What about me? Since I hooked Woosh up with the inside skinny on Azure.
So, I mean, maybe let's see.
My charisma is pretty low, so there's a pretty
That
decent
is
failure.
That is also true. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, I think honestly, the best chances to make a deal would be Sarko, because Sarko is now part of the village.
Okay.
Sure.
And also has a better charisma than I do.
What would trying to make that deal look like? What would I need to do?
I mean, you would have to tell me how you convince Woosh that selling at a lower price is a good idea.
I mean, you are a member of the clan that like keeps the lake pipes clean so the fish don't die and they can eat.
That is true. Yeah, I guess I sort of like ask, like, come on, Wish, what's the like, I've got the I forget what you mentioned, but I didn't like learn the secret handshake or something like that, right? I do ask him, like, all right, 10,000 to somebody just passing through, but what about for family, Woosh? Extended family.
That is true. So what we could do is trying to think. It's like a straight test would be a bit weird. So if I look at the table, the options here are half or one. So let's say if you make the roll, it's something like 7,500,
Okay.
which is 25% off. I think
Yeah,
makes sense.
Significant. What am I rolling here?
I think it sounds like you're using your. What do you think? Is it intelligence because you thought about it? Is it more charisma because you're trying to influence him? Is it wisdom because you spot his weakness for the plan or something?
It does feel like more of a personal appeal than anything.
Yeah, so charisma, I think.
All right. Do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Yeah. Okay, a 5. Cool.
Nice. All right. So Ned and the Cockflower Caravan buys with the help of Sarko. What is it? 1 sack?
Yeah.
Or now that the price got down?
I'm thinking 2.
2 sacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for 2.
All right.
And what is this stuff called again? Golden Ember?
It's called Golden Ember. Let's put it down on the Trade Goods tab. Oh, we're running out of space. To make more space. And it's 70,500. 7,500.
15,000 for 7,500 a sack.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's from Red Bear.
Yeah, and saying 100 a sack makes sense because that means it's like 100 a dose or so, and that seems for a rare drug. Yeah.
Yeah, a sack, including whatever it's in. I doubt it's just floating around in a big bag. So,
yeah.
and a sack is about the size of a backpack. So,
Yeah.
And what you could do, Ned, is at the next destination, do your market research based on the better good. All right.
We're further out, though, because the further out we go, the more exotic it's going to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a good excuse for me to fucking take them all along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can now obviously. How's the phrase? Taste from your own supplies or something.
Get high on your own supply.
Get high on your own supply, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If the caravan ever makes its way back to Violet City and civilization, this could be very exotic that way too, right?
Yeah.
Drugs from the deep wastes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, with the route we're taking, I mean, it's not out of the question.
Mm.
I mean, it's
All
been
right.
5 weeks at Lurid Pines.
That is true. Shall we travel to the next destination?
Yes, please.
Sounds good.
And so, let's see. I gather that you're traveling east, I think. And so, let me see. 1 second. 3 sticks. Glass bridge. And you're traveling towards the moon crossing, I think, which is another discovery that you just make for free. Let me get the information. Okay, so I mean, you're traveling through a pretty hilly region. You can also see it on the map a little bit. There's the shores of the lake to the north. And I think you can see from afar that there are like these old, it almost looks like villas from where you are. So again, the sun rises at, I think, at noon. Before that, it's completely dark. But once the sun rises, you can see the shores of the lake to the north, and there are these ruins of old pretty luxurious-looking villas. You travel through grasslands, and you come upon. Let's see, I lost it again. Give me a second. Maps. The problem is that the book really assumes that you travel the other a high moon crossing. You come across a nondescript crossroads in the steppe, and there, when you look at the map, you see these three roads meeting, and they meet in the shadow of a hillock that is covered in fine green grass. And the odd thing about the crossing is that it is almost perfectly spherical. And the other thing is that there are these profusion of pikes and spears. So the hillock is covered like a hedgehog or something, covered with pikes. That the place seems to have some kind of spiritual meaning to the villagers. And then you can travel north from here to the Jade Baobab. I think that is the direction you want to go, isn't it? Or you could theoretically travel further east. Or you can check out the hillock.
Did the brown map disappear?
Did it?
I still
No.
see it.
Shouldn't be. I'm looking
We
at
have
it.
to need to reload, I guess.
All right, sounds good. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, we need to find out what's going on with these caravans. So north, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And so let's see. The problem here is also the days. So I guess that is another day. That's one day. So you're 3 days on the road when you reach the crossing, and another day to reach the river, the Red River.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what it says about the Red River. I do remember that it's another canyon that is cut deep into the landscape. I'm so looking forward to have my physical book. It should arrive next week. Red River. Oh, here it is. And you can see that the river has this oddly a red color. If you look along the river, you can see like I'm not sure if it's on the map. There's this weird triangle, and you can see from afar that it is some kind of obsidian structure that the top of the structure looks out from the riverbed. And then to the west, you can see these two gigantic biomechanical baobab trees. And that's where you're traveling, I assume, or do you travel further north?
So there. What do you all think?
Good a place as any.
Yeah, I mean, if it seems like there might be information about those caravans, it's probably worth checking out.
There might also be supplies. There might be trade
Yep.
goods, weapons.
Yes.
Who knows?
Probably not
I
a hot spot to sell the drugs we just got since it's so close. But
Probably not.
otherwise,
I think
I-
also I'd like to find out about that iron pike. I didn't really think about asking about that. It's on the map for a reason, right?
Yes.
So that might be
All right.
interesting.
So I think the last thing that we see today is the caravan, after I think 5 days of travel, approaches these 40 meters high baobabs, and there are bridges and platforms suspended between these. And when you approach with the slowly driving autobacks, and you stand in the shadow of the two trees, there's like an old potato that is thrown against your windshield. And that is where we end the session today.